You're from Scotland. Now, you moved from Scotland first to Canada?
Yeah, and then
At
to
what,
Baltimore.
about age 6?
Yeah, and then by around age 8 or so, we moved to Baltimore, to the suburbs.
When did you first take an interest in music? How young were you?
I'm guessing I might have been about 12 or so. I'd hear pop music on the radio. Yeah, I'd never heard anything like it. And my parents listened to, I seem to remember, Mozart, Scottish music, traditional music, and probably some Broadway show tunes. I didn't take too much to any of those. A little bit here and there. But when I heard kind of pop music, rock and roll pop music, in this would be late 60s, I guess, on a little transistor radio, that opened up a new world. And of course I thought, I want to be part of this. This is another world out there. Of course, and eventually, yeah, you start making music with your friends.
On any particular instrument?
I decided I would teach myself guitar. And yeah, so I learned enough to play and write. I never intended to become a virtuoso. I thought there's other people who will always top me there. But if I can learn enough to write, then I'm good.
So at what age would you say you started writing music?
I attempted writing when I was in my teens, but it was terrible. It's probably early 20s, in my early 20s, when I actually tried again to write music. And a few of us had a band. We played some stuff for people, and they seemed to like it. And I thought, that's it. If you got 10 people that like it, that means there's another 10 somewhere.
Well, if you had not made a career in the world of music and performing, what do you think would have happened? Would you have been a plumber or an astronaut? My dream was, although I loved playing music, I never realistically expected that would be my career. My ambition was to be either a fine artist, to make some kind of art and show it in galleries. I ended up going to art school, or at the same time, I wanted to be an engineer. So, for example, when I was an adolescent, I applied to Carnegie Mellon, the technical school, and to the Rhode Island School of Design, an art school. And I was kind of like, ooh, which I'm really interested in both, and I still am. But music sort of came out of nowhere. So did you go to either one?
I went to the art school. That seemed like it was going to be a creative outlet right away. The engineering school, it's a great engineering school. It's a great school. But I thought, it's quite a few years of slogging through stuff before you get to really express yourself.
Ever regretted that decision, not going to Carnegie Mellon?
I'd probably be out in Silicon Valley now. But no, I don't regret it. I realize I can maintain my interest in kind of by reading, me talking to people, going to see things and whatever. Your interest doesn't die.
Well, changing gears here, that you're an immigrant to America, as was your family. Does your immigrant experience affect your work, and if so, how?
I'm aware that my immigrant experience and living with my parents, and this is probably true for a lot of people in this country, you realize that there is kind of the accepted, whatever, movie, TV, whatever way of that families and life and culture is portrayed. And then sometimes he goes, but that's not exactly the way it is in my house. We eat different food than what those people on TV are eating. Now that has changed a lot. But I know when I was growing up, you'd see one vision on TV, and then you'd realize we are not that. We're not that different, but we are not exactly that. And you realize that, to me, what I took from that was that
That might be one image, but there's not just one way to be in the world. There's not one kind of food that you should eat. There's not one way, kind of music you should listen to. Because we do this at home and they do that there, but it's all good.
Have you always, or have you ever thought of yourself as American, or do you still think of yourself, I'm a Scotsman?
I think of myself as an American who has a little bit of a zoomed out perspective because of what I was saying, because of growing up as an immigrant in a family and seeing that perspective of we're all in this together, but we are not all clones of one another. We're all a little bit different.
You're dressed very fashionably. Where do you get your clothes, or do you make your own clothes?
No, well, I have made my own clothes sometimes. I just kind of just throw things together. I thought it was not going to be as warm as it turned out to be today, but I thought it is summer. Wear something looks like summer.
And did you come up with the now famous gray suit?
Yeah. It's a little ended up as it's like a cliche. I drew it on a napkin.
Well, the reason I'm pursuing this, and we'll get off of it in a minute, is when I see the videotape, the old visuals of you dancing in the gray suit, I'm saying to myself, did you ever think that you'd be doing that when you were 19, 20 years old?
Oh no. When I was that old, as I said, my ambition was to make art and have it be in galleries. And I was making music on the side for fun. I never thought that would be where I ended up.
Well, you're obviously a mightily creative person. How do you create? What's the process? You wake up at night and write things down in a notebook? Or?
I've done that. I've written things in a little notebook or on my phone or something like that. Often, I think it's by bringing disparate things together, things that maybe had never been put together. So it's not, you have not invented something from scratch. I feel like we never make something from nothing. We're gathering from different things. And if you can gather things from places that have never met before, then sometimes you get a real surprise. But that could be just, it could be something really different, like let's say engineering and fine art. But it could just be a lyrical approach to a song combined with a kind of melodic approach. That then you go, I've never heard that before.
Give me an example where that's resulted in something that you've produced or sang.
Okay. I did a musical a few years ago about Imelda Marcos and the revolution that ousted the Marcoses in the Philippines. And I was reading, before I thought of doing it, I read about how she loved going to discos when she was in their heyday.
High heels and all.
High heels and all, and seeing all the beautiful people with her in the discos. And I thought, that's quite an image. And then I put that together with, I didn't go often, but I remember I'd been to a disco back in the day where I saw popular singers of the day singing to a pre-recorded version of their hit song. There was no band. They would just sing along with kind of like a karaoke thing. Right. And I thought, what if, could you tell a story in that setting, in a club setting, of a person like Imelda who inhabited that setting and has an incredible rags to riches story, but tell it in that way with the performers all singing as happens in that setting. And I thought, I'm going to remember that. It took about 8 years to get it going, but.
Do you have any suggestions for encouraging creativity, particularly in children, young children?
I am certainly not an expert in this, but my gut feeling is that everybody's creative. They just have to find the thing that really they are passionate about, and that we as parents and adults and whatever, we tend to have define what creativity is, and it might be something we don't know. That this young man, his parents might not realize he's an incredible cook. This guy is a future, incredible chef or whatever, and they may not recognize that that's where his passion and creativity is, because they think of it as that it should be in some other more prescribed area.
Well, I may think, well, I hope he doesn't become a chef either.
Yeah, yes. My parents had a little bit of a hesitation, like, do you think you can get a job? Yeah.